Hello, and welcome back for our third video from the chocolate chip cookie murder. Today we're doing the Pecan Chews. That is this one right there. That way. These are actually mentioned in the book 5 times. That's it. Once they're listing her daily baking, once she's giving the cookies to a suspect to get them to talk. The third time she's giving them to her brother-in-law Bill, the same cookies that she gave to the suspect. And they're listed in the actual recipe, and then they're listed in the recipe index. So let's get started. It says to preheat the oven to 350, rack in the middle position, 1 cup of butter, that's 2 sticks or half a pound, 3 cups of brown sugar, and then it has a note that there's no need to keep brown sugar in stock. It can be easily made with white sugar and molasses. 1/8 of a cup molasses for every 3 cups of white sugar. That's how they manufacture it, really, and it'll save you from having to deal with all those lumps. Just add the molasses to the white sugar and stir until it's thoroughly and evenly mixed in. Now, I don't have that problem. I don't have lumps in my brown sugar. I actually don't even have molasses, but I do have brown sugar. But for all of you who don't, interesting little thing to try. Okay, it says 4 eggs beaten with a fork is fine. 1 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 3 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 cups finely chopped pecans, and 4 cups of flour. Now, because it says finely chopped pecans in the ingredient list, that is what I already did. I measured them finely chopped already. Now, the instructions start to melt the butter and add the brown sugar. Mix well and let cool. Add beaten eggs and mix. Add salt, baking soda, vanilla, and nuts. Mix well. Add the flour and mix until flour is thoroughly distributed. Form dough into balls with your fingers. Make them the size of a walnut with shell. Place them on a greased cookie sheet, 12 to a standard sheet. Press them down with a spatula. Spray it with Pam first or grease it if it sticks. Bake at 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Let cookies set on sheet for 1 minute, then remove to a wire rack to finish cooling. Then the anecdotes are, there's no problem if your recipe calls for dark brown sugar or light brown sugar. Just mix the molasses until it's the right color. Doesn't specify dark or light brown sugar in the ingredients, so I'm not sure. I think that's just maybe part of them saying you can make it on your own. And then it also says Norman Rhodes adores these, and so does Bill, her brother-in-law, and the guy she dates. All right, so that's what we have on these cookies. It does say these are her best cookies. She says that in this book 3 to 4 times at least. So I am quite excited to make a batch of these. I'll see y'all in the kitchen and we'll get started. So now we are in the kitchen. I have all of our ingredients set out. This is it, just, 8 ingredients will make us a nice batch of cookies. I've also going to preheat the oven while we're here to 350 and get that going. Okay, so now we're back in the kitchen. We're in the kitchen for the first time today, actually. Okay, so I've got the butter in the bowl, and the first thing we're going to do is add 3 cups of the brown sugar. Just dump it on in. And, of course, the paddle attachment for my mixer. You could do this by hand. I choose not to. And we're just going to mix this in until it's nice and combined. It's been about 2 minutes, and this is where we're at. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our beaten eggs until they're well mixed. And of course, I like to scrape out my containers. And that is the sound of the oven. It is ready for the cookies when we get them there. You're faster than me, stove. Hold on. All right. Now we're just gonna mix in the eggs. This is what it looks like when the eggs are incorporated. It's very runny, very silky, very smooth. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add the salt, the baking soda, and the vanilla. Alright, it also says to add in the pecans. So this is what my Ninja says are finely chopped. I'm just going to chuck those in there with all the rest. Okay, so now it's been mixing a second. I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl just to make sure nothing's all clumped together and everything gets mixed in good. I'm also going to scrape down the beaters just in case something got chunked up there and stuck. Alright, let's give that one more final mix and then we'll add our flour. So here's our mixture before adding the flour. It's not as runny, but it still looks pretty silky. Here is our last ingredient. It's the flour. It doesn't say to mix it in sections, so I'm just going to dump it all in and get it mixing up. See you guys in a second. So here is our mixture. It's all done. It's really thick. It's slightly sticky, so I'm not sure how you would roll these by hand, but I've got our handy dandy scooper I'm going to use, mainly because I have no idea how big a walnut in a shell is. I did actually Google walnut in its shell and it only said 1.5 inches around. Didn't do much help. So we're just going to stick with these guys. And remember, if you're using the metal baking sheets to spray them first with the silicone ones, I don't have to grease them. I have not had a problem with it yet. So same thing as the other videos, just take it, scoop it up the side of the bowl to get it level. Here is your cookie dough. And we're just going to plop it nice and easy on the sheet. Now I'm going to do the whole sheet and then I will show you how to flatten them and then we'll move on. See you guys in a bit. Here is our cookie sheet. Now I will say this, be very careful where you place these because they are not going to be easy to move. They're very tacky, just about. So the last thing we have to do with them is to spray the back of the spatula. I'm just going to do that over there. So get some up there. And we're just going to push them down a little bit. Let's see. Because I see the necessity for it. They do have little tips that are sticking up that will end up sticking, or not sticking, they'll end up burning if you put them in the oven without pushing down the little tips. So definitely that is probably a requirement. All right, so I'm just going to finish up our pans and we'll see how many we get. I'll be with you in a minute. All right, we are done scooping and flattening. We got a total of 55 cookies from this batch. That is 5.5 dozen, just about. So the only thing left to do now is to stick them in the 350-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes. Let them cool for a minute on their sheet and then remove them to wire racks to finish cooling the rest of the way. I will bake these up and I'll see you guys in about an hour. Bye. All right, we are all done. Here are our cookies. It does look like a lot. And now the best part, we get to try one. So here is a close-up of the cookie. They're not chewy like a fudge. They are kind of chewy. They're soft and have a little bit of crunch to them on just the outer sides. The pecan flavor is pretty heavy. They're good. I wouldn't say they're the best like they do in the books, but they are very good. They kind of remind me of Christmas time, just a little bit. But just be sure to let people know there's nuts, you know, nut allergies and all that. But it's a pretty good cookie. Now, next video, we will be doing the black and whites. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned.